All right, Mariano Agmi with the final bell, and I'm happy to be joined by Cordale the Gift Booker. Cordale, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for your time. Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Well, thank you for joining me. I know you're a little bit over a week away from your next big fight on June 15 at Mohegan Sun Arena, where it's become pretty much your home, right, when it comes to boxing.
Yeah, I wasn't always fighting there, but to start being able to be there and make a name for myself and people, now going into Mohegan Sun and people recognizing who I am is kind
Yeah,
of cool to just be recognized for being Connecticut's boxer.
absolutely. And you've been there now a couple of times in a row. I've noticed there's a following that kind of keeps coming back. It seems to be selling out, and it's a really beautiful venue. So I think it's good for a local fighter to be able to have that, sort of fan base, like say a Bud Crawford has in Nebraska. Just it's very important to build up that local fan base, and of course fight other places when necessary as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's very important. The fan base shows like that people are interested and they care about the performances that I put on. And that's why I
Yeah,
try to make sure I always go out there and I give the best I can and not not so much fight for the fans in the sense of like I'm gonna be reckless, but going for the knockout, being entertaining, letting my hands go, and not just going out there to just like outpoint the guy and because I have the skill to do that too, but that's just not me in my nature anyway. I like taking the risk and going for the knockouts, but I love that the fans they appreciate that as well.
yeah. What I like about your fighting style is that I feel like you show both throughout a fight. Like I've seen you've been obviously you have a lot of skill. You set things up really well. You change speeds really well, but you do go for the knockout. And so, if you're a boxing fan, you enjoy it, and if you're a fan of knockouts, you're going to see that too. So it is kind of nice to see that blend, and the fact that you not every fighter can do that, right? Not every fighter is a good boxer puncher. You either have one or the other many times.
Yeah, but thank you for noticing that and saying that. Yeah, but not everybody has that ability. To be honest though, I know I'm not a like a one punch kind of knockout guy too. Like
Yeah.
I'm honest with myself and I'm realistic about my I guess my pros and my cons as a fighter. And
Yeah.
like I think that's a big that's actually a pro for me as well, is that I'm actually realistic about what I can do. Like I don't have the power of, of a Tyson, Tank, Wilder, these guys who just ended up with these crazy knockouts. I'm just not that kind of guy. And so I had to learn more about the craft to be a better
Yeah.
fighter, to make things competitive for myself.
Yeah. For sure. So tell me, how's training going for June 15? You're fighting Brian Chavez of Argentina. How's training camp been?
Training's been good. I'm just I'm ready. I'm ready. I've been training hard. I've been since the first time I've been at Mohegan Sun. This has been uh I want to say like a new light under me because I lost my fight. And I just want to prove to myself that I belong. So I've been training hard and June 15th, I'm I'm gonna show that he doesn't belong in the ring with me.
Definitely. And what do you know about him, about Chavez?
Uh from the video, I just been going video. I'm saying he's more like a boxer. He wants to try to like move his feet, move his head. Um, he doesn't look like anything I've never seen though. I fought
Yeah.
I had 130 something amateur fights. He looks like every single guy that there's nothing special that stands out to me about
Right.
him. So I just feel like I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna go see what he has, what punches he's looking for, and then after that, I'm gonna take him out.
Yeah. And I've heard you're moving up to middleweight for this one, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And that brings me to your last fight. I know you had a little bit of trouble making weight. I guess you probably naturally outgrew junior middleweight. But tell me a little bit about your fight against Greg Vendetti. It was an entertaining fight. He looked like he also came to fight, which makes it a better fight anyway, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So that was honestly, it was a tough fight as far as like stylistically. Because he's kind of like a old school fighter, and I don't mean that in any knock to the old school, but the way he would like tip his head over and position himself, the way he would position himself down low and just kind of like a Jack Dempsey roll type of thing. It made it tough to like put punches exactly where he was going to be. But figured it out through the rounds and started to play some shots and catch him while he was ducking. And I thought that fight was a good fight to keep me going up my trajectory to get back to the fighting the top guys. And little upset that I got to fight this guy because I think Vendetti was a good guy, and I thought like I should be able to go to the next level. Where this guy I just feel like it's a fight.
Right. No, I know what you mean. You're at this level, and then you have to fight somebody that's below that level. But the good thing about it is that it does keep you active. You're entering a new weight class, which will, and this is the second time you go into middleweight. And you and I talked about this in the past. And of course, I was thinking of you last weekend because your only loss is to Amma Williams. He had a tough fight against Shiraz, Hamza Shiraz on, I guess, last Saturday in the 5v5. Did you watch that card? What did you think of that?
Of course. Every time he fights, I watch. I definitely want that back as a competitor, not anything malicious towards him as a person.
Sure.
I mean, the guy saw all the same things that any other fighter sees. That he's mainly just an athlete. He's an athlete who can punch, and sometimes that runs out. Where guys figure out that you're an athlete who can punch. Same thing happened to Wilder on the card. Like people figure out like you're a one trick pony, and if they can get past being hurt, right? Because I got hurt in the fight, I couldn't get past that. Shiraz got hurt in the fight, and he got past it, and he figured, all right, well, I just got to sustain this left hand, and I'll be able to wear him down. Because most guys with the power, they don't have the boxing ability or the intelligence.
Yeah. The thing about Hamza Shiraz is, he's tall, he's big for that weight. He looks almost like he's bursting at the seams. He probably will move up at some point. But he takes his career really seriously. He's been investing in himself. He kind of, he's based in the UK, but he moves to like LA every time he has a fight so he can get better sparring. And that just shows you that dedication, right? Because he's moving to like the other side of the world to get ready. So I knew that this was going to be a tough fight. And I gotta admit, I was wrong on most of the 5v5. The only fight I picked correct was the Hamza Shiraz fight over Amma Williams. And it's just, it was just a stylistic thing. But yeah, Wilder is another one I wanted to ask you about. Because we grew up watching him last couple of years. He was one of the top American heavyweights in a long time. What did you think of that fight? And do you feel that it is time for him to call it a day?
So I picked him to win. But I was picking him to win more so off of like how I feel about him as a competitor. Like he didn't have a good fight, and I thought people just kind of like wrote him off because he lost to Parker. And I'm like, one fight doesn't determine you, so I think he could bounce back and instead of trying to be a boxer, be a power puncher. But he didn't. I don't think he's trying to go with a style that he didn't get him to the big dance. He got to be the same guy. You got here being the knockout artist and being unconventional and being wild. And now he's trying to be too clean and too perfect, and that's just not him. And if he can't go back to being that guy, then just hang it up, man. You had a great career. You made money. You got your faculties. Your brain works. The money in your pocket. The brain
Right.
in your head. My coach would always say. So just go ahead, right off in the sunset.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. He made 10 defenses of the WBC crown. He made tons of money. He had that trilogy with Tyson Fury. So I feel like he made his mark. And to your point, like, number one, you don't try to fight in an identity that doesn't really fit you. And I think that Malik Scott is trying to help him. He was trying to make him too much of a boxer. It doesn't fit. But also, it seems to me like maybe even his demeanor has changed. You know, he used to have that sort of like spiteful nature when he was about to fight, where he would say certain things, right? Controversial things. And he kind of needed that. I think it fit with the way he fought. Now I feel like he's thankfully he's happy with his life. It looks like he is content, but it does affect the way he fights. And maybe he doesn't see the I think he sees the openings, but he doesn't actually he can't pull the trigger the way he used to.
Exactly.
And that was another right. That was another dynamic thing about him.
Yeah, that's mental. That's mental. I think that's that take a toll on you fighting Fury 3 times and
Yeah.
arguably losing all three. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can argue that first one he lost. So
Right.
that take a toll on you. And he's not a big heavyweight. He's actually small in weight for a heavyweight. So
Yeah. Yeah, he is. You look at it, he's kind of like a bridgerweight, right? There's that new division.
you're
I
right,
think the bridgerweight champion weighs around the same as him, because he is
right.
pretty thin, tall and thin. Um, Speaking of Tyson Fury, doesn't it seem to you that this is something that I've been talking about with a few people? Is it seems to me almost like those two guys probably took the best of one another. Because if you look at Fury, since that trilogy, he's been dropped by Francis Ngannou, who that was his first real pro boxing match, and he's got severely hurt by Alexander Usyk. So it seems to me like both guys are a bit
Yeah,
diminished from that trilogy.
it's too much. I think it's too much wear and tear on their bodies.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Fury already had wear and tear from just being out of the sport and drugs and everything and coming back from that. That was already he probably already took damage to his body from that, and then come
Yeah.
back and you fight the biggest puncher in boxing 3 times. You're gonna be different. You're gonna be a different fighter. Your punch
Yeah.
resistance wise, not gonna have the same resistance.
Yeah, exactly. So do you see the rematch going any differently with him and Usyk?
Uh Honestly, I picked Fury to win. So I'm still stick with that.
Yeah.
Usyk is a really good fighter though, man. It might get worse because Usyk found out he could hurt him too. So
Exactly.
and Fury can't. Fury's style is to like have fun and play around, but that's also what kind of got him caught was him.
Yeah.
He can't really stay focused the whole fight, and it'll probably happen again. Usyk is such a smart
Yeah.
fighter. He'll probably find a hole, a gap. He'll find a something that Fury is doing over and over, and he'll capitalize on it. He'll find a pattern in Fury and just pick at it.
Yeah. It seems to me like Usyk is the one fighter that Fury can't play mind games against because he seems so mentally strong himself.
Yeah.
You could tell he's not phased by any of the clownish things that Fury tries to throw at him, right? Yeah. Um, so anyway, back to you. So the fight with Emma Williams, that's something that you would like to get back, right? Like have that
Yeah,
avenge that only loss
absolutely.
on your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be great. If it doesn't happen, I mean, okay.
Hmm.
It's not the end of the world. But
Yeah.
just as a competitor, when you lose to somebody in any other sport, you get to play them again. In the NBA, you get to play that
Yeah.
team again. Tennis, soccer,
Sure.
whatever, hockey, you get to see them again and see how the matchup, make adjustments. And I just, I want, and even if I lost, it's just like, all right, well, at least I got to do it again. I want to know
Yeah.
all right, can I win? If not, all right, I'm shaking your hand, bro. You the better man. But I need to know that, you know what I mean? Like I need to understand like if you really are.
Yeah. Well, the conditions might be right for something like that now, right? Now that, because I'm sure he was kind of having the world title ambitions, and now maybe he needs to take a step back. And you've been active. I'm sure from your perspective, also, you want to know how you perform against him when you're at your best. As you mentioned to me before, when you first moved up to middleweight, it was a little bit hastily done, and had been inactive. This time, you're coming in
Yeah,
with activity, bottom one, and you're going to grow into the middleweight division, right?
right. It's a
Different
lot
fight.
different now. I feel better. I feel different. And like this is why I do like the June 15 fight, because I get to see against a guy
Yeah,
who I feel like I'm superior to as far as boxing skill. What do I do with a guy like this? And this will answer some questions for me, because I could sit here and say all the things that I want about him and any other fighter, but until I get in the ring with them and really box, and how I win the fight will tell me what I really need to know about them, myself, and what I can do moving forward and what I need to work on.
yeah, yeah. Now, the other thing that I was looking at when it comes to the middleweight division, I was taking a look at the different champions, and I was curious to see which one you have your eyes on. But looking at it, Janibek Alim Kanuli has the WBO and IBF titles. He's with Top Rank. Carlos Adames with the PBC has the WBC belt, and then Erislandy Lara, also with the PBC, has WBA. Is there one of those three guys that you have your eyes on that you would prefer to fight from a style
Um,
perspective?
I mean, it's no preference, but I've asked for the Johnny Beck fight immediately. Like I've been telling, because nobody wants to fight him. So
Yeah, that's right.
they've been having a hard time getting him opponents. So I told him I'll do it. I'll fight. Because my whole thing is like I want to fight the best fighters. It's not only about just winning the championship. I actually want to know if I'm the best, or how close to the best am I? What do I need to do to be the best? And I wish more fighters would do that, so that way we could just get the fights that we want, and the opportunities. But there's no preference on who I will fight. I will fight Lara. I will fight Adames, and I'll fight Johnny Beck. I do think Johnny Beck is the toughest opponent out of them, but I'm also for fighting the best.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Erislandy Lara, when he was at his best, and he's still a champ, but when he was at his best, he might have been the best one. But I'd
Right.
like to see you and Adamus go at it. I feel like that would be a good
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a good
looking at those three.
action-packed fight right there.
Yeah,
He's talented. He's a talented fighter. I think that would be a great
yeah,
matchup between us.
right. And I think he only has one loss, so no, I think he's peaking, which is good. Um, I guess looking at the WBC, Ammo is ranked fifth, at least as of this week. Shane Mosley is number six. I see that he's going to fight Danny Jacobs soon. Danny Jacobs is coming out of retirement. And
Yeah.
Terrell Gausha is number 10. He's getting a title shot on June 15th, Terrell Gausha. So there's a lot of good fights for you there, right? On the American scene, and I'm sure internationally too.
Yeah, I think Boucher's fighting Adames, correct?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
it's a lot of good fights at middleweight, and these are some of the guys
Mhm.
who are up at down at 154. So it's not like I don't know some of these names and I've watched, I've been on the card with Boucher when he fought Trout. So it's
Yeah,
just kind of like changing the weight class, but same characters.
same people, right? And physically, I guess you guys are all kind of growing into the new weight at the same time. Kind of
Right.
like the lightweights, right? When you think about like Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez, they're all kind of moving up to that 140-pound
Right.
division together, pretty much, right? Devin Haney. Um, Cordell, you mentioned like fighters fighting the best fighters and how that needs to happen more. Looking at where boxing is today, do you see it as having a resurgence because the Saudis are getting involved and they're able to kind of pay
Yeah,
for this to
yeah.
happen?
Man, I love it. I love what they're doing. Like that 5v5 is probably going to change how like
Yeah,
fighters, like promoters and fighters work together now. Like how how these promoters are gonna match up their guys and see who fits to fight what style. Because now you can't only just you can't just count on like putting up your best guy. You gotta know matchups because I'm not trying to talk crazy about him because I know people are gonna think, because you lost to him. It's like if you know boxing, you knew that ammo style didn't match up well with that guy.
Yeah.
Like you knew that. And then I'm not gonna front, even though Ray Ford ended up losing, that guy's style didn't match up with Ray. I think Ray Ford probably had an issue with like making weight or something because he
I
didn't
think he
look
did
like
too.
himself. He didn't look like a guy he didn't use the ring. He didn't like he always looks. He didn't look like that. So he probably struggled with weight because he's actually a big guy for that weight class. Um, but you gotta you gotta pick fights against the other guy stylistically too. I think it's cool though to
Yeah.
just see these guys
I
match up.
think it's great too. Yeah, it's funny. The team concept is kind of gaining some traction here. Like you got the TCL, which I know you probably are aware. A lot of fighters that we know, like Rashidi Ellis is involved and others. That team concept, and then this one's even more attractive, where it's like promotional stables against each other. So there's like some
Yeah,
bragging rights here,
yeah, that
right?
was
And
cool.
I couldn't believe Matchroom lost 10-0. I mean, that was kind of a shocker that they lost
Yeah,
every single fight.
that was super unexpected. Like that was
Yeah,
something I didn't expect to happen. I was like, nah, no way. Is that
yeah.
noise loud?
No, it's all right.
All right.
It's all right. Oh no, yeah, it was unexpected. And to your point, with Ray Ford, I thought he pulled it out, but it was a very close fight, and it was a tough fight. It was,
Yeah,
um,
I'm telling you, it has to be. I don't know him personally, so it's not like I could go off like speaking to him. It's just being a fighter and and kind of going through
yeah,
those similar things where you just you can't give it your all because you're like, if I give him my all right now, I might not have nothing down the line.
you'll
So I'm
be
gonna save a
empty,
little bit.
right?
He looked like a guy
Yeah,
who was just, trying to do what he can to win and not do what he can, do his best. Just
right.
do enough.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. I spoke to Ray Ford. We interviewed him before his title fight against Odebek, and he was telling us already that he struggles with the weight and that he thought he'd win a world
Oh,
title and move up. The problem is, I'm sure the money was substantial for him to stay
exactly.
and defend the title. Yeah, so that's usually the problem. Um, Now, I know you've been sparring with Jaron, and you've been
Yeah,
making the drive, right? Is that what you were doing? Were you driving like between
yeah,
Philly and Connecticut?
yeah.
Yeah.
It-
That's dedication.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, I know because I know he's a top talent. I came up with him in the amateurs, and
Hmm.
I needed the best work. I needed to see the best lefty in front of me, so that way, come the 15th, if this guy's not Boots, I should do amazing. Like prepare for the best, right? Just prepare for the
Yeah,
best guy,
absolutely.
and that's what I'm choosing to do is just put myself in those uncomfortable situations, going into other people's gyms and just trying to box with the best guy. Put it all on the line, everything, so I could just say like when I hang it up, I did everything I could.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that experience been like in Philly?
It's just fun, honestly. I love doing it. I love going there and just like boxing at a high level because the whole time you always got to worry about what shot is coming because
Yeah.
he's very good at setting up shots. He's very good at setting up shots, and he's very like his um his timing, and his upper body movement could throw you off because he'll look like he'll be right there, and then he'll just shift. His shifts are just on point all the time. You
Yeah.
could tell that he mastered his craft. Um, And he's a guy that you could tell he spent a lot of time in the gym just
Yeah.
working on his game.
Yeah, that's what I hear about him is that he's always in the gym, whether he's fighting or not. Like he'll be helping other people at the gym. Sounds like
Yeah,
that's where he stays.
you could tell easily. You could easily tell that because he's just some things you just can't teach. He's also like he's born like that. There's no way like he was put on earth to be a fighter, but he also is dedicated. There's some people who are just talented, right? Like they're special
Yeah,
individuals because they're born that way. Like he's also special, but he works extremely hard too.
he's got both, right? He's got both, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I was talking to someone and we were talking about talent and skills, and talent is what you're born with, and skills is what you develop by
right.
practicing it, right? Working at it.
Over and over.
Um, Yeah, exactly. He's also a guy who's found it tough to find opponents, right? And I don't know if you saw, but I'm sure you know his opponent fell through because of some kind of eye issue. So yeah, so that's tough. What do you think of him against Bud Crawford? I know it's not going to happen, but what are your thoughts on a fight like that?
I mean, I think they're very similar, honestly. Um,
Yeah,
but what kind of makes the difference between the two of them for me is Bud is more like he works range more. Like he'll use his feet more for defense, and Boots is more of a upper body, slips, ducks, roll, pull, right, shoulder roll. But they both do them. They both do the same things. But Boots is more of that like upper body. Crawford is more footwork. So it would be great to see that fight because they both would have to
absolutely.
like switch back and forth between what
Yeah,
style they're gonna fight with each other because they both they have all the same tools.
yeah, yeah. It's a shame that we're not going to see that. I don't think, but I really was looking forward to something like that. Would be a showdown at welterweight.
Yeah.
Um, uh, what are you gonna do? All right, Cordell. Look, as always, it's a pleasure speaking with you. What do you want to say to your fans that are coming out to support you on June 15?
I just want to say thank you for all your support. Thank you for coming through um, time after time because I've been consistently, exclusively, pretty much fighting at Mohegan Sun. Other than my fight in DR, I've just been at Mohegan,
Yeah,
and everybody has been very supportive, and I just feel like I made a real good name at home. People knew
you
who
did.
I was, but fighting at home has been different. There's a different feel being around there in Connecticut now, knowing that I've actually got to fight here multiple times and people have come out to see me.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. And look, I wish you all the best on June 15. I'll be there, and hopefully we can speak after your fight.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
All right, later. Thank you.